There are moments in royal history when the spotlight seems to split in two, illuminating one path while casting another into deeper uncertainty. Those moments are rarely defined by a single speech or a single photograph. Instead, they emerge through a series of quiet developments that, taken together, begin to tell a much larger story about the future of a family, an institution, and the people who stand at its center. Over recent weeks, public attention has once again turned toward two very different royal narratives. On one side, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has returned to public life with carefully chosen appearances that have been widely praised for their dignity and composure following her health challenges. On the other, social media has been flooded with dramatic claims about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, with some posts alleging serious difficulties in their marriage. But what is actually happening? As of today, there has been no official confirmation that Prince Harry and Meghan are separating or that their marriage has imploded. While reports and commentators have speculated about their professional projects and public appearances, speculation should not be mistaken for verified fact. Even so, the contrast between these two narratives has captured global attention. Why does one royal couple appear increasingly associated with continuity and stability, while another remains surrounded by constant debate and speculation? And what does that contrast reveal about the evolving future of the modern monarchy? Perhaps this story is not ultimately about rivalry at all. Perhaps it is about two very different visions of public life, shaped by personal choices, extraordinary pressures, and the weight of history itself. As William and Catherine gradually assume greater prominence within the royal family, and Harry and Meghan continue building their lives outside the institution, many observers believe the House of Windsor has entered one of its most defining transitions in generations. But to understand why these contrasting journeys matter, we first have to return to where they began, and to the family history that continues to shape every chapter of this remarkable royal story. To understand why these two royal stories have become so intertwined in the public imagination, we have to step back from today's headlines and revisit a family history shaped by extraordinary privilege, profound loss, and very different responses to the same lifelong pressures. For Prince William and Prince Harry, life inside the royal family began with a unique bond. They were not only brothers, but companions growing up beneath relentless public attention. From childhood photographs outside Kensington Palace to official family engagements, the world watched them mature together, often seeing them as two halves of the next generation of the monarchy. That shared journey changed forever in 1997. The death of Diana, Princess of Wales, became one of the defining moments in modern royal history. Millions around the world mourned alongside two young princes who suddenly faced unimaginable grief under the gaze of a global audience. Images of William and Harry walking behind their mother's coffin remain among the most recognizable and emotional moments in British history. Many royal commentators believe that tragedy influenced both brothers deeply, but not necessarily in the same way. William gradually embraced the responsibilities that came with being heir to the throne. Over time, he appeared to accept that his future would always be connected to the institution itself. Rather than attempting to redefine the monarchy overnight, he has generally worked within its traditions while supporting gradual modernization. Harry's path unfolded differently. Throughout the years, he often spoke publicly about the emotional challenges of growing up in the spotlight and the lasting impact of losing his mother. After marrying Meghan Markle in 2018, the couple initially represented what many hoped would be a fresh and dynamic chapter for the royal family. Their global popularity, charitable ambitions, and modern outlook generated enormous public interest. Yet the years that followed proved far more complicated. In 2020, Harry and Meghan stepped back as senior working royals, later relocating to California. Since then, they have pursued independent projects, including media partnerships, documentaries, charitable initiatives, and public advocacy. Their decision fundamentally changed the structure of the modern royal family. At the same time, William and Catherine continued taking on increasing responsibilities within the institution. They represented the crown during state occasions, expanded their charitable work, and gradually became central figures in many of the monarchy's most important public events. The contrast between the brothers became impossible to ignore. One couple remained inside the institution. The other chose life outside it. Neither path has been simple. For William and Catherine, public duty often requires extraordinary discipline. Every appearance, speech, and gesture is carefully examined, while many aspects of private family life remain intentionally protected. Catherine, in particular, has spoken publicly about the importance of family, early childhood, and creating stability for her children despite the unique demands of royal life. Her recent return to selected public engagements following cancer treatment has been widely welcomed. Those appearances have been interpreted by many observers as symbols of resilience and continuity rather than dramatic public statements. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan continue to attract significant international attention. Their interviews, memoirs, philanthropic efforts, and business ventures have generated extensive discussion, praise, and criticism. At various times, tabloids and social media have circulated rumors about disagreements, professional challenges, or personal difficulties. However, it is important to distinguish between verified information and speculation. While commentators have occasionally questioned the couple's public strategy or noted periods when they pursued separate professional engagements, there has been no official confirmation that their marriage is in crisis or imploding. Separate work schedules alone do not establish the state of a relationship, and responsible reporting requires acknowledging that distinction. Even so, the public conversation reveals something deeper than curiosity about individual personalities. It reflects growing interest in the future direction of the monarchy itself. King Charles III has continued emphasizing a working monarchy centered on a relatively small group of senior royals. Within that structure, William and Catherine have naturally assumed greater visibility. Their responsibilities have expanded as they support national commemorations, international diplomacy, environmental initiatives, and charitable organizations. This steady increase in responsibility has reinforced the perception that they are preparing, not through dramatic declarations, but through years of consistent public service, for the day they will become king and queen. That perception shapes nearly every headline involving the Wales family. When Catherine appears at a national event, commentators often discuss symbolism as much as fashion. When William delivers a speech, many analyze not only his words, but also what they suggest about his future leadership. Every appearance seems to carry a sense of continuity. By contrast, stories involving Harry and Meghan often focus on independence, reinvention, and life beyond traditional royal structures. These two narratives are frequently presented as opposites, yet reality is more nuanced. Both couples have made choices they believe best suited their families and circumstances. Both continue to attract intense global interest, and both remain connected through a shared family history that cannot simply be erased by geography or changing roles. Perhaps that is why public fascination persists. This is not merely a story about popularity or headlines. It is a story about brothers whose lives began side by side, but gradually followed different roads. It is a story about duty and personal freedom, about public expectations and private priorities, about history, identity, and the difficult balance between preserving tradition and pursuing a different future. And it is against that emotional backdrop that the latest wave of commentary has emerged, raising one final question before we examine the facts behind today's headlines. Why has Catherine's quiet return to public life been interpreted by so many as a symbol of the monarchy's future, while conversations about Harry and Meghan continue to be dominated by speculation? The answer lies not only in recent events, but in how the public has come to understand two very different royal journeys. The story reaches its emotional turning point not because of a single announcement, but because of the striking contrast that has emerged in how the two royal households are perceived around the world. In recent months, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has resumed a carefully paced schedule of public engagements following her treatment for cancer. Each appearance has been deliberate, measured, and deeply symbolic. Crowds have greeted her warmly, not simply because she returned to royal duties, but because many people saw her presence as a reminder of resilience, hope, and continuity. Photographs captured moments of quiet confidence, a smile exchanged with well-wishers, a thoughtful conversation with volunteers, and the familiar partnership she shares with Prince William during official engagements. There was no dramatic speech, no sweeping declaration, yet for many observers, those moments spoke louder than words. Royal commentators have suggested that Catherine's return reinforced the image of the Prince and Princess of Wales as steady figures during a period of significant transition for the monarchy. Their emphasis on service rather than spectacle has become a defining characteristic of their public life. At nearly the same time, headlines surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, continued to generate intense debate. Some media outlets focused on the couple's separate professional appearances, while others questioned the direction of their business ventures. Online speculation quickly escalated into claims that their marriage was facing serious difficulties. However, those claims deserve careful scrutiny. There has been no official confirmation from Harry or Meghan that their marriage is ending or imploding. Reports about separate appearances or independent projects do not, on their own, establish the state of a relationship. Several commentators have noted that couples with multiple professional commitments often pursue different engagements while continuing to support one another privately. Nevertheless, the public conversation has taken on a life of its own. Every appearance by Harry without Meghan, and every appearance by Meghan without Harry, has become the subject of endless interpretation. Body language is analyzed. Schedules are compared. Silences become headlines. The absence of official explanations often creates space for speculation, even when no verified evidence supports dramatic conclusions. Meanwhile, William and Catherine have largely maintained a different communication style. Rather than responding directly to online rumors, they have continued fulfilling official duties with remarkable consistency. Whether attending commemorative ceremonies, supporting charitable organizations, or meeting communities across the United Kingdom, their public focus has remained on service rather than commentary. That consistency has influenced public perception. According to several royal analysts, stability itself has become one of the Wales family's greatest strengths. Instead of attempting to control every headline, they allow sustained public work to define their image over time. The difference between the two couples is therefore not necessarily one of success versus failure. It is one of fundamentally different roles. William and Catherine remain senior working members of the royal family. Harry and Meghan chose a different path after stepping back from royal duties in 2020, building independent careers while continuing charitable work through their own foundation and other initiatives. Those contrasting choices naturally produce different public expectations. Inside the monarchy, consistency is often interpreted as reassurance. Outside the institution, independence brings greater freedom, but also greater public scrutiny regarding professional decisions, media projects, and personal branding. That distinction has shaped nearly every headline over the past several years. As Catherine gradually resumed public life, many people saw her appearances as symbols of institutional continuity. At the same time, stories surrounding Harry and Meghan increasingly centered on questions about their future direction, business partnerships, and evolving public identities. Some commentators believe this reflects a broader shift in public attention. Rather than focusing exclusively on past royal disagreements, audiences are becoming increasingly interested in what comes next. What kind of king will William become? How will Catherine redefine the role of queen consort, or queen, when that day eventually arrives? What influence will Harry and Meghan continue to have as globally recognized public figures operating outside the traditional framework of the monarchy? These questions extend far beyond any single news cycle. They speak to the future of one of the world's oldest constitutional institutions. Perhaps that explains why Catherine's recent appearances generated such emotional responses. They were not simply about one individual returning to work. They represented continuity after uncertainty, hope after adversity, and the quiet reassurance that even during periods of transition, some traditions continue with remarkable steadiness. At the same time, the continuing fascination with Harry and Meghan demonstrates something equally important. The public remains deeply invested in their story. Whether discussing charitable initiatives, media projects, or family relationships, global audiences continue to follow their journey with extraordinary interest. That enduring attention reflects the lasting emotional connection many people feel toward both princes. A connection rooted in shared childhood experiences, family history, and memories that stretch back decades. Ultimately, the most revealing aspect of this story may not be the rumors themselves. It may be how differently the public now views these two branches of the same family. One is increasingly associated with institutional continuity, the other with independence and reinvention. Neither path is without challenges. Neither can be reduced to simplistic headlines. Yet together, they illustrate how one family can represent two distinct visions of public life while remaining forever linked by history. And that raises the final question. As the next generation of the royal family steps further into the spotlight, will these contrasting paths gradually drift farther apart? Or could time, shared history, and changing circumstances eventually create opportunities for understanding that once seemed impossible? As the headlines eventually fade and new stories replace old ones, the deeper significance of this moment becomes easier to see. History rarely remembers every rumor or every viral headline. Instead, it remembers the people who shaped an institution through quiet consistency, thoughtful leadership, and an understanding that lasting influence is earned over time. That may ultimately define this chapter of the modern royal family. The contrasting public journeys of the Prince and Princess of Wales and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have become symbols of two different approaches to life after one of the most extraordinary family stories in modern history. Yet beneath the public narratives lies a shared beginning that neither side can erase. William and Harry will always be brothers. They experienced the same childhood, the same unimaginable loss of their mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, and the same extraordinary pressure of growing up beneath constant public scrutiny. Their lives eventually followed different paths, but those shared memories remain part of both their personal identities and the history of the monarchy itself. For William and Catherine, the years ahead carry responsibilities unlike any previous generation. Their role is no longer simply to support the institution. Increasingly, they are viewed as its future. Every official visit, every charitable initiative, every carefully chosen public appearance contributes to a broader picture of what the monarchy may become in the decades ahead. Rather than seeking dramatic transformation, they appear committed to gradual evolution, preserving centuries-old traditions while adapting to the expectations of a modern society. That balance is perhaps the greatest challenge facing any future sovereign. The monarchy survives not because it remains unchanged, but because it changes carefully. Queen Elizabeth II demonstrated that principle over 7 decades of remarkable service. King Charles III has continued that tradition while bringing his own priorities to the crown, including environmental sustainability and interfaith dialogue. One day, those responsibilities will pass to William. By then, years of preparation will have shaped not only his understanding of duty, but also the public's expectations of his reign. Catherine's role will be equally significant. Throughout her years in public life, she has consistently emphasized empathy, family, education, and early childhood development. Her approach has often been characterized by patience rather than publicity. During her recent health challenges, that quiet resilience became one of her defining qualities. Many observers believe her return to public engagements demonstrated more than personal recovery. It reminded people that leadership is sometimes expressed through presence rather than performance. Simply appearing, listening, serving, remaining composed during uncertainty. Those qualities often leave a deeper impression than dramatic declarations ever could. Harry and Meghan's future, meanwhile, continues to unfold beyond the formal structure of the monarchy. Since stepping back as senior working royals, they have pursued independent careers while continuing philanthropic work and media projects. Their path has brought both opportunities and criticism, illustrating the complexity of building a public life outside an institution that shaped so much of their identities. While commentators frequently speculate about their future, only Harry and Meghan truly know the realities of their private family life. Responsible storytelling requires acknowledging that difference. Public appearances reveal only part of any person's experience, and speculation should never be mistaken for established fact. Perhaps that is the most valuable lesson this story offers. In an era dominated by instant reactions and viral headlines, patience remains essential. The royal family has always operated on a different timeline. Its story unfolds across generations rather than news cycles. The choices being made today may not reveal their full significance for years, or even decades. As Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis gradually grow into their own public roles, Another generation quietly begins preparing for responsibilities that seem distant today, but will eventually shape the future of the crown. That is how history moves forward, not through sudden endings, but through careful beginnings. The Wales family increasingly represents that sense of continuity. Their public image has become associated with stability, measured leadership, and long-term service. Whether that perception continues will depend not on headlines, but on years of consistent action. For Harry and Meghan, the future remains equally important, though different in form. Their influence now extends beyond royal tradition into philanthropy, media, and global advocacy. Whatever direction they choose next, they remain part of the broader story of the House of Windsor, a story that continues to evolve with each passing year. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this entire chapter is that it is still unfinished. The next king has not yet ascended the throne. The next queen has not yet worn the crown. The youngest generation is only beginning to understand the responsibilities that history may one day place upon their shoulders. And the relationships within one of the world's most closely watched families continue to develop away from the cameras as much as before them. That uncertainty is not a weakness. It is what keeps history alive. Because the British monarchy has never been defined by a single moment of triumph or conflict. It has endured through generations by balancing tradition with change, public duty with private humanity, and the enduring belief that service outlasts headlines. Perhaps, years from now, this period will not be remembered for rumors of division, but for the emergence of a new generation finding its place in history. One careful step, one act of service, and one chapter at a time. As this chapter of royal history continues to unfold, one thing remains clear. The future of the monarchy will be shaped not by rumors alone, but by years of service, leadership, and the choices made by each generation. While speculation often dominates the headlines, history ultimately remembers character, resilience, and dedication. We'd love to hear your perspective. Do you believe the Prince and Princess of Wales are successfully preparing to lead the next era of the British monarchy? And how do you see Prince Harry and Meghan's role evolving outside the royal institution? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If you enjoyed this in-depth documentary, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next exploration of the royal family, its history, its traditions, and the remarkable people whose lives continue to captivate audiences around the world. Thank you for watching.